A Bronco? Sammy Sosa putting a cork in it? And is a rocket ready to blast off into retirement? All this and more next on Bobcat Blitz. Bobcat Blitz, sports talk like you've never seen it before. Let's meet this week's four contestants. First, from Princeton, Massachusetts, it's Matt Cadwallader.
Yo.
From Bristol, Connecticut, it's the debut of Mike Lyle.
What's going on?
From Long Island, it's Derrick McCloud.
What's up, folks?
And finally, from Scarsdale, New York, it's our returning champion, the little Buddha, the little Schwab. It's Seth Rothman.
You know, the rocket might be blasting off. Your face is doing a whole lot more than that.
Oh.
Wow.
Yikes.
3 rounds, 4 contestants, 11 periods. Horrible remarks from Seth. Let's make this happen, guys. And let's begin by news of the day. And the news is this. After a 3-week break, it's back at the start. So, guys, one of the greatest college coaches of all time was arrested this past week for DUI. Eddie Sutton, the Oklahoma State basketball coach, came out and said that he needed to go back to rehab, and right now he is close to 800 wins. If the team wins it under his son, the wins would count toward the 800. Guys, do you believe or not that the wins should count? Blitzing it to Matt.
Fact is alcoholism is a really bad disease, and it affects a lot of people. But when he goes out with 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his body, he's got to pay for it. He can't have those wins attributed to him.
Mike.
There's no way.
Personally, I don't think that Eddie Sutton should be chastised for his incident with the DUI, because you look at many college basketball coaches that have undergone they've undergone scrutiny for a lot of academic and recruitment violations. I mean, yes, alcohol is a crime, and Eddie Sutton should be reprimanded for it, but do not discredit all of his 800 wins that he's brought to a really talented program like Oklahoma State.
Let me answer that question by posing another question of my own. When you don't go to class, do you still get credit for the course? When you don't show up for work, do you still get paid for that day? So this man, when he doesn't show up to coach, should he get credit for a win? No. That's my argument.
That's it.
Oh, well, you want more?
So?
Yeah, I mean, is he coaching? No.
No, he's not physically there.
If he's not coaching, how could he get a win for not doing anything? It doesn't make logical sense. Now, sports doesn't make logical sense a lot of time, but it really doesn't make any logical sense. If he's not coaching, he should not be getting wins.
And that's not a knock on Eddie Sutton as a coach, because he's
No,
a
it's
great
not.
coach.
No, it's
Top
not.
5 coach of all time. One of the
Absolutely.
number 5 all-time winning lists behind Dean Smith, greats like him, and who else?
And
Bobby Knight, the likes of those. So
But
he's
that
up there in that
means-
echelon. But he should not be counted towards 800 for these times that he's not there on the court.
But that means he should come back.
I agree. He
Sutton.
should not be counted toward the 800 wins. But for what he has up to this point now, shouldn't be overlooked. Because, again, as I said, let's take Bobby Knight, for example. That whole incident that went down in 2000 when he was relieved of his duties from Indiana, he went to Texas Tech. So with the history that Bobby Knight has had up to that point, comparing that to what Eddie Sutton's dealing with his current DUI, you really can't say that Eddie Sutton should not having his wins discredited. But yet, right now, he's not coaching, so right, he shouldn't.
Exactly.
Right,
Matt,
he
wrap
should.
it up.
I'm not saying that his wins should be discredited. He's an amazing coach. But the fact is, he should be able to come back later to get those wins, to get to the 800 mark, not get these kind of wimp-ass wins without him coaching.
All right, and that's going to be the round. Mike, I'm going to give you first place points. Seth, second place points. Derrick, third place points. And Matt, last place points. Question number 2, guys. New York Times columnist Murray Chess last Tuesday called out Bud Selig and Barry Bonds. Chess suggests that Major League Baseball should rehire John Dowd to investigate Bonds so we know once and for all if Bonds is in the clear or the cream. Dowd, being the one who took down Pete Rose, said, hey, this would be a great idea. Guys, should Major League Baseball investigate Bonds? Blitzing it to Mike.
No, he should not. First of all, who is the New York Times to say that they should have any authority over whether or not they should pose to Major League Baseball petition to go into investigation of Barry Bonds' steroid activity. First off, the Barry Bonds steroid incident has just been long overdrawn. We've heard about this since last summer. First of all, he has not came out and admit that he has taken steroids, although many may say he shouldn't because he hasn't. But the tests have shown that he hasn't done anything up to this point. So until, and I say this many times, until that day, until he comes out or if a test proves that he has indeed taken steroids, we need not to worry about Barry Bonds, his home run record, or anything he's done for the sport of baseball.
He doesn't have to say he took steroids. You can just look at him. He was a toothpick when he came out. Now he's jacked. Not only do you need the MLB to investigate this dude, you need the FBI, LAPD, get Jehovah's Witness on him too. This man needs to be investigated because the records, they're tainted with him trying to break these records. If he breaks Babe Ruth, it'll be a sad day for the MLB.
Oh, testify.
The Pete Rose situation, though, guys, was a very different situation. You actually had a lot of evidence. With Barry Bonds, the only evidence you have is he's gotten big. Well, that's not enough to say he's taken steroids. You need to have conclusive, or as conclusive as you can get evidence, and I don't see the evidence that says we need a formal investigation. And if you want an investigation into Barry Bonds, I want an investigation into Giambi, into Sheffield, into everybody else who's taken steroids also. I want them to be investigated also, not just Barry Bonds, because nobody likes him.
I'm sorry, does the word Balco ring a bell? Yeah, there is a little bit of evidence against him, and you can't really say that there's no evidence against him without having an investigation. That's the whole point, to bring up that kind of things. Barry Bonds has to be investigated because it's so important to the sport. It's illegitimate if there's this cloud around him this whole time that he's taken steroids. If he's clean, then let him be clean. The investigation will turn up nothing.
Well, baseball has now passed a random drug testing policy now. So, as you just said, yes, if they're going to do investigations into Barry Bonds, and that's right, they should take steps to make sure that every MLB player is tested. And as you saw during the season last year, it was working to perfection because you had about maybe 5 or 6 or 7 different guys who, by the way, are not big names that were suspended because they were tested for those illegal substances. Rafael Palmeiro was one of them. Alex Gonzalez was another one from the Devil Rays. The list, there was a few others that were involved in that mix as well. But what I'm saying is, if the New York Times has petitioned the MLB to do that, then fine. Then maybe the New York Times will also say, well, make sure not just Barry Bonds. Don't look at a high-priced athlete like Barry Bonds. Let's make sure the entire sport of baseball is tested.
Derrick.
I don't know how much evidence you need. This is a guy that one season hits 20-some-odd home runs, comes back, hits 71 at the age of 34. This is unheard of.
And
It has to be steroids.
It's unheard of, but, I mean, guys can peak late in their careers, and I'm not saying he didn't take steroids. I think he did. However, what you have to look at is, you know, the evidence against him with the Balco it's all circumstantial, and there's really nothing there that I see that can warrant a full investigation into only Barry Bonds. You need to investigate everybody.
All right, and that's going to be the round. Mike, your first place points. Matt, second place points. Seth, the third place points. Derrick, last place points. And now we Bobcat Blitz our way to New Jersey, where the New York Jets are talking to Chad Pennington. As reported here on Blitz last fall 04, in fall semester 05, Chad was injured and missed a majority of the season. The Jets now want him to take a pay cut. Guys, do you think that he should? Blitzing it to Derrick.
This season, the Jets are going to be $20 million over the salary cap, projected salary cap. Chad Pennington is due $3 million come March 3rd. By that time, they have to act. He's already refused to take the pay cut, so they have to just cut him. He's coming off 2 rotator cuff shoulder surgeries, and even when he was healthy to start the season, he had, 6 fumbles in one game? This man's a liability, healthy or not, he should be cut.
I saw on the breaking news up there was an 11th commandment that has just been passed. Honor thy contract. You signed a contract. Honor that contract. All right? If one side wants to renegotiate, you know what? You signed that contract a couple years ago. If it's now a stupid contract, it's your fault. No, we shouldn't renegotiate just because he isn't playing well. He earned the contract through previous work, and he should be bound, as should the team, by that contract.
I'm sorry, but loyalty is dead in professional sports. I am sorry, except for maybe soccer, but we're in America. But you can't.
All right, you're done by
tell
bringing
him
up
$1 million.
soccer, Mike.
Well, I understand that. I understand Pennington's frustration because the last couple of seasons he has not been what you call a top-rated quarterback. But you got to understand he has had a role in the Jets' success in the last few or 4 seasons. I mean, they were playoff-bound each of the last 3 years after Testaverde went down the injury. Who stepped in the plate? It was Pennington. So in the case of him honoring his contract, yes, he should just accept it and just take it as it is because look at what happened with Herm Edwards. He's no longer with the Jets. He went two other ways because why?
True. Mr. Soccerman.
Mangini will not overpay this guy. He comes from a Belichick system that cut Ty Law, Lawyer Malloy. If he wants to stay, if Chad wants to stay, he's going to have to take a lot less money, and it already looks like he doesn't want to take that much less money.
So,
This conversation raises a very big problem with the NFL players and their contracts, in that it's the only league where contracts can be renegotiated in the middle of them, where money is not guaranteed, which is for the players and for the owners a big problem. You got players holding out. You got players being cut. Again, honor thy contract. It's the 11th commandment.
Derrick, wrap it
Mike,
up.
you're right. Chad did play a role the past couple of years, but he's going to play a bigger role right now by being cut and shaving salary. This team is in cost-cutting mode. They already got rid of Ty Law. They got more players that they want to take a pay cut, so cut them now, save the money.
All right, that's going to be the round. Mike, first place points. Derrick, second place points. Matt, third place points. Mr. Commandment, last place points. Question number 4. We head back to Turin, where we have a tale of two athletes. Bodie Miller, who is still over, but seen winning people over at bars during the night. And then we have Johnny Ware, who claims, I never felt comfortable in this building. I didn't find my inner peace. I didn't feel my aura. I was black inside. This is because he missed a bus that he thought would be there every 10 minutes, and it was actually every 30 minutes. But his coach came out and said that's not why he won. Guys, take your pick. Who should USA disown in leaving Italy? Bodie Miller or Ware? Blitzing it to Seth.
No inner peace? What does that even mean? You know, people talk about it's just getting a sport. Well, I've never seen a baseball player say that because I didn't have my inner peace, I went over for the day. Hey, own up to it, Johnny. You choked.
Yeah.
I got to take Johnny Weir by default here. I'm sick of people busting on Bodie Miller. Come on, Bodie's Bodie, and that's why he's Bodie. That's why he was the champ in skiing last year, and that's why he's going to show up drunk on the ski slopes every once in a while. Johnny Weir, yeah, he's a little crazy, but whatever.
A little, Mike.
I say they should get rid of Bodie Miller because what athlete would actually come out in the middle of a national meeting and actually admit that while he was winning gold, he was doing it while he was drunk? It's like, what purpose do you serve in playing that flags? And you think
Because
that
he could.
But the point is, why would you want to humiliate yourself? It's like you just like people are going to lose respect for you. You're tarnishing your reputation. And in this case, this other guy talking about he misses a bus. I mean, I'm sorry, it just sounds all too weird here that he would actually come out and say that he missed a bus.
Derrick,
he
wrap
needed
it
to
up.
catch the bus. You know, you don't get it. He couldn't find his aura. He was black inside. Don't you understand this? No, but I think they're both bums. They should both be discounted. Bodie, every time I see one of those stupid commercials, it makes me want to puke because he hasn't done anything yet. And this Johnny Ware guy missing a bus is simply ridiculous.
Not to say that the U.S. team has done anything in these Olympics so
Right.
far as it is.
All right, now here's the thing. They showed during the opening ceremonies, the village and the skating arena is 3 blocks away. If Johnny Ware cannot walk 3 blocks, he needs to wait for a bus.
He's not. That's
I mean, find some inner peace that way. That's the round, that's the period, that's it. Derrick, first place points. Mike, second place points. Seth, third place points. And Matt, last place points. All right, that's the end of the first period. Let's check the scores. Matt Cadwallader, our soccer boy, is gone. Goodbye, Matt. Any last words?
You promised me a first round out, and I got one.
Yep,
So now I
Matt-
can eat. Thanks.
Yep, that's great. When we come back, it's Believe It or Not, here on Bobcat Blitz. All right, welcome back to Bobcat Blitz. Let's check the scores. Mike is in first with 15. Derrick's in second with 10. And Seth is in last with 8. Guys, let's move on to Believe It or Not. Question number 1. Guys, do you believe it or not that T.O. will land in Denver? Listen it to Mike.
Absolutely not. Because it's not just Denver. There's a lot of other teams out there that are shopping for T.O. And and those are teams that are shopping for someone who's going to want to take a lot of baggage, A, and B, someone who is in dire need of a top-notch receiver, an all-star receiver caliber like Terrell Owens. And 3, someone that is just willing to just take a chance on someone like T.O. or maybe even give him a second or third chance, how many ever chances he has left, because it's like, it's almost that nobody even wants T.O. on their team. It's like Denver has said they don't know, and then the Dolphins were in the hunt for it at one time. Some of the players were voicing their opinion, and some were saying, yeah, we may want him, and others were saying maybe not.
All right, believe it or not tell his life story. Go, Derrick.
T.O. is not worth the risk. That's all there is to it. And I think for the sake of the NFL, I hope he doesn't land anywhere. Make an example of this guy, that this type of behavior is not tolerated in pro sports. He should not go to Denver. If he does go anywhere, I do see him going to Miami. That's a team that might take him.
A place like Denver, and here's why. T.O. is only going to be happy if he is the only show in town. Donovan McNabb and T.O. sharing the spotlight is too many people sharing the spotlight for T.O.'s liking. He's going to go to a place where he is the only person on that football team. That's a good place, too.
That's going to be the round. Mike, first place points. Seth, second place points. Derrick, last place points. Question number 2, guys. Will Sir Corks-a-Lot, also known as Sammy Sosa, retire? Seth.
After last year, he better retire because he's done. I mean, stick a fork in Sammy Sosa and you know, such the golden boy of the MLB tarnished. It's almost a sad story, and then you think about why it happened. It really isn't so sad anymore.
Yeah, he faded away that season. At one point, I thought he didn't even exist at that point. But, you know, he's kind of close to 600. He's only 12 home runs away. That'd be the only incentive to come back. But no team's going to pay him as much as he wants, so I see him retiring.
Mike.
I feel the same way. The Nationals were only going to give him a guaranteed minor league contract just to come back and try and make the team as it was. And considering the year he had last year in Baltimore, where not only did he only underachieve, but he was also banged up. So at this point, Sammy may be looking towards retirement.
All right.
So close to 600, though.
So close.
That's going to be the round. Seth, first place points. Derrick, second place points. Mike, welcome, last place points. Question number 3. Do you believe that soon-to-be ex-Indiana Hoosiers head coach Mike Davis will be a head coach next season? Mike.
I absolutely believe so, because when Bobby Knight was dismissed in 2000, Mike Davis kept the Indiana program in the national spotlight. In fact, they went to the national championship game in 2002. By who? Led by Mike Davis. And even so, they struggled after the last couple of seasons. Mike Davis has still kept the team on map. They were nationally ranked at one point this season. They may not be nationally ranked now, but Mike Davis has a good resume to go to any other major or any mid-major college program in the country that's in dire need of a head coach.
In fact, I got some numbers here. Last 6 years in Indiana for Bobby Knight, he won 123 and 69. Davis in his 6 years, 109 76. 60 and 42 in Big Ten play for Bob Knight those last 6 years. 51 and 40, Mike Davis. 0 Final Four appearances for Bobby Knight last 6 years. 1 Final Four appearance for Mike Davis. The man can do it. He can do it some way. He just couldn't do it under the shadow of Bobby Knight.
Right.
It is ridiculous the kind of pressure that Indiana University puts on its basketball coaches. He will find a job at a very big school, and he's going to be very, very good. The pressure-packed atmosphere at IU drove out a very good coach, and mark my words right now, Indiana will be sorry.
That's going to be the round. Derrick, first place points. Mike, second place points. Seth, last place points. Don't give me that look, Seth. And finally, will the Rocket launch this baseball season, or will Clemens hang up his cleats? Seth.
Oh, absolutely, he's going to pitch. He's going to pitch until he dies. I mean, this guy will not stop pitching. And you know what? After the season he had last year, an almost Cy Young Award season, absolutely. He deserves to be there, and he should be there.
Derrick.
Why not come back? The man had, what, like almost a 0.00 ERA. The man can pitch. He's only getting better with age, and I see him pitching till the grave.
I think he'll come back, and it also depends on how healthy he is. In fact, the Yankees and Brian Cashman are on the market trying to look for him to come back into the pinstripe, back to the Bronx.
I don't see him leaving home.
I don't see him come. He might come back, but it's also going to depend on how much money he's going to make as well, because, like you say, he's got a nice ERA. Any rotation is going to need him, even if he is in his 40s, but still, he's the Rocket, and that's what makes him stand amongst all the other MLB pitchers.
All right, and that's going to be the round. Seth, first place points. Mike, second place points. Derrick, last place points. All right, we got a tie, guys. Tie-breaking question is this. NBA All-Star Weekend was this past weekend. What is your favorite All-Star event? Seth.
The NHL 2-on-1 breakaway shootout.
Are you kidding me? The dunk contest. Did you see Nate Robinson dunking over Spud Webb, man? That's ridiculous. The dunk contest is back. Room for creativity
NHL
now.
event, though, actually simulates real game situations, dunk contest.
Are you doing between the legs 360s, behind the back
All right,
dunks?
that's it. First of all, to do that, you have to have a league that's season after season after season. NHL wasn't here last year. Seth, get off my show. Goodbye. I'm not even going to give you any last words. We come back, it's a shootout here on Bobcat Blitz. All right, guys, it's a shootout here on Bobcat Blitz. We got Mike against Derrick. You ready?
Let's do
You
this.
ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's dance. Guys, question number 1. Once again, it was NBA All-Star Weekend this past week. Who is the NBA midseason MVP? Mike.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, it's Kobe Bryant. Anybody that scores 81 points in a single game, second highest point total ever in the history of the league, deserves the first half MVP. And people can say whatever they want to say about Kobe Bryant, but he is leading the league in scoring. He's helping his team win. His team's in the playoff hunt right now. Kobe is doing all the work for that Los Angeles Lakers team right now.
He's doing all that, but they're still 26-26, 500. Look at the Phoenix Suns, 35-17. Steve Nash doing it without Amari, without Joe Johnson, without Quentin Richardson, making guys like Rajah Bell and Boris Diaw look like all-stars in the process.
Steve Nash has done it before. He'll do it again. Point for Derrick. Question number 2, guys. Which MLB team has the best pitching rotation on paper? Derrick.
Oh, you look at the Red Sox, like big names on paper. You got Kurt Schilling, now bringing in Josh Beckett, Wakefield, all those guys. But I actually think the best rotation in baseball right now might be the White Sox. If you look at them, they had a bunch of, I think maybe 4 instances had complete game shutouts, or complete games at least. So they have a great pitching staff.
Obviously, the Astros has the best pitching rotation, even though they didn't show it in the World Series. The
That
Astros
could depend on Clemens coming
Well,
in.
Clemens is one reason, but then you also have other guys that have stepped up during the postseason run, even though it was most of the offense that was the problem. The pitching did the work. It was the Astros batting that was not the issue.
And you have one of the best closers for the Astros in Lights Out Lidge.
And Brad Lidge.
Brad Lidge. That's it. Let's pick the question. Mike, the honor.
Okay.
Guys, the final question to determine the Blitz champion
Not
this
hockey.
week.
No NASCAR.
Oh, dear God. The NASCAR season kicked
Oh,
off this
boy.
past Sunday. Oh, boy, I can hardly control myself. Guys, who will end up winning this season's chase for the Nextel Cup? Mike.
Well, if there was any indication, I think Jimmy Johnson is definitely the front runner for that. I truly believe so.
I know. I'm gonna tell you right now. I know absolutely nothing about NASCAR. I know Jeff Gordon's a cool guy, so I'm gonna pick him. But NASCAR is, I can't watch it.
You know what? The correct answer is who cares. But we saw what happened today. Mike, congratulations. You got up to 30 seconds.
I don't
Go.
care about NASCAR.
As a closing speech, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say it's an honor to be on this program. I'm really happy to be a part of this crew. I'm looking forward to doing some more shows with you guys. I'm looking forward to bringing my sports know-how to this program and hopefully making a little streak of consecutive wins on this program.
You know what? It was great having you. I don't know why I'm having this hat on my head. I am going to kill Dwyer
Take it
after
off
this
now.
show. Since no one
Thank you.
cares about NASCAR, let's get a new hat in here. Blocks.
Why was that question in there?
There we go, Red Sox. We'll see you next week on an all-new Bobcat Blitz. Sports talk like you've never seen it before. I can't believe we had a NASCAR question in the shootout.
Yeah, I hope I got.
All right, that's the end of the first period. I figured since you stopped that you were going to count down from 5 right there. Let's go. T.O. A Bronco. Here's what.
T.O. a Bronco?